Ascent kids. You guys, another Sunday we're together. This is great. Thank you for joining. So we have Alex and Sophia Goulis who are going to be your hosts for today. They are my personal favorites, so let's see what they got. Let's learn about more kids in the Bible.
Hi Ascent kids, I'm Alex.
And I'm Sophia.
And we are so happy to be hosting this week with you guys. We miss you so much. Our memory verse lately has been
I can do all things through Christ, He gives me strength.
Philippians 4:13. Last week, we talked about Josiah, and Josiah was a kid who became king when?
He was 8 years old.
8 years old, and he was one of the best kings that Israel had ever had. Why?
Because he burned all the idols and took the ashes far away.
Exactly. He did what God wanted. He got rid of all of the false idols and the false gods, and he built a temple to the one and only God. And because he did that and he repented for their sins, God showed mercy on them. Have your parents ever shown you mercy? Have you ever maybe not listened well one time or disobeyed when they asked you to do something and they showed you mercy? Well, that's exactly what God did. God showed the Israelites mercy because of Josiah. And even as an 8-year-old kid, you can make a big difference and show people the way.
Hey Ascent kids, we're so glad you're with us this morning. Today we're going to finish up our unit of kids in the Bible. We have learned about so many kids that God has used in such creative ways. We've learned about sisters sticking up for their little brothers. We've learned about a tiny little boy taking on a giant. We've learned about God speaking directly to kids. We've even learned about an 8-year-old who became one of the greatest kings ever. God is so creative and has used kids just like you. Well, today we're going to learn about another kid, and we saved the best for last. Can you guess who we might be talking about today? Let me give you a hint. This kid is God's son. This kid was born in a manger, grew up, and saved the entire world. He took away our sin and connected us to God. Any guesses who it is? That's right, it's Jesus. Today we're going to learn about Jesus as a boy and some stories about what he was like and how he acted when he was younger. We've learned a lot about Jesus when he was older and all the amazing things he did and how wise he was. Well, that all started as a kid. So enjoy this video today. We can't wait to see you soon.
Come and see Jesus, the Son. This is Jesus.
Heyo!
Jesus is the Son of God and the Savior of the world. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in a barn because there was no room in the inn for him. After Jesus was born, his mother, Mary, and her husband, Joseph, took Jesus to the temple in Jerusalem. There was a man named Simeon who loved God. God has told Simeon that he would meet the Savior before he died. When Mary and Joseph arrived at the temple, Simeon was there.
Oh my!
When Simeon saw Jesus, he took him in his arms and blessed him.
Thank you.
He knew that this was the promised child who would save them all.
It's true.
Mary and Joseph were amazed at his words. There was also a woman named Anna in the temple. When she saw the baby that Simeon was holding and heard all that he had said, she gave thanks to God and told everyone that the Savior had come. When everything had been done as God commanded, Mary and Joseph went home to Nazareth. Jesus grew up. He became strong and filled with wisdom, and the favor of God was upon him. Every year, Jesus' parents traveled to Jerusalem for a festival. When Jesus was 12,
Come on!
they went just like every other year. But when the festival was over and Mary and Joseph were traveling back home,
Jesus? Jesus! Do you know? Nope.
they realized that Jesus was not with them.
Uh-oh.
Come on!
So they returned to Jerusalem to look for him.
His name is Jesus.
I haven't seen him.
They searched everywhere.
Jesus! Not Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus!
After 3 days, they found him in the temple. Jesus was sitting among the religious teachers, listening to them and asking them questions.
Jesus!
Hey, Mom.
When Mary and Joseph found him, they said, "Why have you done this? We've been searching for you everywhere." But Jesus said, "Why did you look for me? Didn't you know I would be here in my Father's house?"
Huh?
But his parents didn't understand what he meant. So Jesus left with them
See you later. Bye, Jesus.
and came back to Nazareth, where he obeyed them.
Hey.
Here you go.
And he continued to grow in wisdom and favor with God and man.
So today's minutes winning game is you take a piece of dry spaghetti and some penne pasta noodles, and in 1 minute we have to use only our mouths and pick up all of these penne noodles and put them onto this other plate. We only have a minute to see who can get the most. So, are we ready? Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
You win.
I won! Yay! We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Ascent kids and families, what a good Sunday morning we had. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys have been so great and so faithful to our channel these last couple months, and we're excited to just keep it going. Looks like we're not going to be back at church for a while, and so we just want to invite you to keep tuning in to our Ascent Kids YouTube channel. Like us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. Is that how it goes? Anyway, we're so glad you're here. And next week, we're starting a whole new unit all about how you can make a difference and what God calls us to do in the Bible by taking care of our neighbor and other people, and what the world could look like if you and me put others first and loved people the way that God loved us. So let's do this. Let's meet next week and let's learn, how does God want us to love our neighbor?
It's peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.